Welcome everybody, this is My Dunn Life. My name is Travis Dunn. This is the first video of 2020. I started this channel in 2015. It was mostly, if you've been here a while, or even if you're new and you're going through my back catalog, this was a sort of a talking head, originally vlog type of channel. I would either talk about stuff in my car, or I would talk about stuff at work or at home, and it was just a way for me to develop my skills both in front of a camera and in front of a microphone, and trying to learn to break all that stuff down and make something that content wise was digestible for YouTube. Fast forward to 2020, I've been doing this a little bit on and off for the past couple of years on a couple of different channels. I also have two podcasts. One is called the Sci-Fi-ness podcast, and that I do with a friend of mine, and the Spidercast podcast, which is my son's channel's podcast. And you can find him at Spider Era 713. And you can see in this video there's a spot that I marked that I really dislike, and I forgot to downshift. And so anyway, this video is going to be me voice over some old footage from last year. This is the first ride from last year. I rode with my son's best friend Nash, who's also an avid motorcycle rider, and this was the spring ride of the season. I'm going through back catalog, looking through a lot of the old footage, and trying to put together more and more content for the channel. And so if you're into that type of thing, most of this channel is now going to be motorcycle related. There'll probably be some tech involved. So hopefully we're talking about from a family standpoint, we might go to Disney World. So it's going to be, I'll call it a travel channel a little bit more than it is currently. Still somewhat vloggedy if you're into that type of thing. Some of it will be talking heads, some of it will be riding, some of it will just be me walking around with a GoPro. Most of the footage that you're going to see for the first part of the season until riding season really starts, because I live in Ohio, and we can ride about solid 6 months out of the year, give or take the weather, depending on how fair weather rider you are. I'm a little more on that fair weather rider. I try not to go out specifically if I know like it's going to pour down rain. I don't directly, the motorcycle for me is not my only means of transportation. So, if I don't feel like riding, or if I don't, the weather doesn't seem to be favorable for me, I typically don't ride. So, like I said, first part of this whole thing is going to be mostly either me talking over the video, or some of these videos may just not have any, regular talking audio over it. So some of it will be just some music or just some background noise for the, for my Harley Davidson. If you're into that content, feel free to make sure you like and subscribe. If you're not into that content, and I totally understand, I will not feel hurt if somebody decides to unsub from me. So, I'm doing this for fun. This is not for, profitability or anything like that. There's always that hope that maybe at one point it becomes something that I can do regular and make a little bit of a living out of it. But yeah, it's a hobby. It's something fun for me to do, and it gives me a reason to take the footage that I'm already taking anyway from my GoPro and putting it out there as content. So my equipment, these videos, anything prior to last year videos you're going to see, were all taken with a GoPro Hero Plus. It is 1080p, 60 frames a second video. It's decent for what it is. It's a good helmet camera for what it is. But I have purchased this year a GoPro Hero 8 Black. So the new footage is going to be a lot crispier, a lot better stabilization, and so I'm looking forward to adding that to my repertoire. I still have one of the. Oh, there's the chopper. I think I misspoke. I believe I misspoke in the original audio. This that you can sort of hear. I think coming up when I motion to pull over, so we can turn around. Um, I believe it's a Cobra. I think is what I ultimately determined what that helicopter was. So, I'm motioning to Nash to pull over here at the farm. Um, but yeah, I mean most of this content, like I said, is going to be motorcycle related, travel related, things like that. And I'm looking forward to putting that content out there. Um, I love riding motorcycles. I wish I was like Shade Tree Surgeon and Blockhead, and or even Bike and Bird who lives in southern Texas, and being able to ride like 3/4 or almost all year long, and but it's too damn cold here in Ohio. Like right now, we've had a little bit more favorable weather than we usually have, but I try not to ride below 60 degrees if I don't have to. Could I? Yes. Do I want to? No. And if anybody doesn't know, which I'm sure if you're new to this channel you probably don't, I have a 2000 Harley Davidson Sportster 883. It has a 1200 kit. It has a force winder intake. You can see the chopper here on the left. And it has Vance & High exhaust. Sheesh. It's got bags. It's got windshield. It's got drag bars on it. It's got a Moto Gadget dash. As you can see, it kind of flickering. It doesn't show up very well on camera, and but it's pretty cool. It's digital. I'll be honest. I kind of wish it was analog. I've had a few problems with it over the years. The bike, for the most part, it's got relatively low miles. Though I can't 100% confirm the miles are exact. They were in line with the title when I bought the bike. And a lot of that bike I bought like 80 or 90% exactly the way it is. Yeah, you can see this chopper. It's really cool. Whenever I take pictures like this, you can find me at My Done Life on Instagram and Twitter. And you'll see here in a moment the picture I took with Nash. This was a fun ride. I really enjoyed this. And this is the first part of the ride. There will actually be part 2. I can do a selfie. Now, for anybody who wants to know, that was I had a Galaxy S8 Plus. I've recently upgraded. I went back to iPhone and got the regular iPhone 11. But I did get the 128 gig memory, so kind of a love-hate relationship with the phone. So that'd be something I'll probably sit and talk about in a video at some point, because obviously a phone is an important thing you take when you travel. You see Nash taking his selfie. I'm just snapping a few pictures here. It's like, hey, come here, let's get one together. Always fun for the Instagram. So I've got a Harley Davidson. It's an older bike. It runs good. I've put a ton of little work into it. This last year, I've rebuilt the carburetor, and put a new battery in it and stuff like that. My ultimate plan is to do, hopefully in 2020, is to do a big trip. I've done at least 300 or 400 miles in a day. I do a yearly trip up to Upper Sandusky for Ohio Bike Week. I got family that lives up near there, and in fact, that'll be one of the videos that'll be coming to the channel here soon. Was last year's video, where you'll get to see where I dropped the bike. It was also a kind of an oh shit moment I had while I was on that ride. So I've done I've done decent miles, but I've never done like that 4 or 5 day long trip, and it's something I really want to do. I'll probably be taking that with my stepfather. He has a 2005 or 2006 Honda Shadow Aero. So it's got bags. It did have a windshield, but we actually, for Christmas, right before Christmas, I found one of the local shops that posted on Facebook. They had like takeoff parts from different bikes, and they had one for a 2005 Shadow, and it was a Memphis Shades full fairing windshield, the whole thing. And they only wanted they said 150. I got it for 120, and that was with a little tool bag. So I felt that was a pretty good deal, and he paid me for that. And then I bought him the full mounting kit to put it on his bike. And excuse me. So his bike is definitely he's working on it. He's got to get some new tires for this season, and hopefully I can talk him into really throwing down some miles on an epic trip. And I actually kind of hope to take Nash with me. I really like Nash. He's kind of reminds me a little bit of me growing up. I grew up out in the country, and obviously I don't live in the country anymore. But I love these country views, and you see it here on the video. These are some of my favorite type of roads to travel on, and especially you get in the late summer and you get the cornfields for as far as the eye can see, and just the smells and the sounds, and just like I said, it's my favorite time to ride. But anyway, Nash is a really good kid. He's got a reasonable head on his shoulders. Like I said, kind of reminds me of growing up when I was growing up, even more than my own son. Yeah, he's a little wild. He's a little rebellious from time to time, but he's also, not afraid to dig in. He's not afraid to do a job. He's not afraid to, build bike, work on a bike or a car. Or, he's, it's definitely is a kid that's got a better head on his shoulders. He's actually going for heavy machine mechanics, I think is what it's called, something like that. It's basically like a diesel mechanic, but they do like farm equipment and different heavy equipment repair stuff. So I know they've been building like Caterpillar engines and doing stuff like that with them. So it's right up in his wheelhouse, and like I say, he's a pretty good kid. I enjoy riding with him. He's got a Honda Magna. It's one of the earlier ones. It runs pretty good, but at least a little oil, and it looks a little rougher than it is. But it's a kid on a budget. I certainly I'm not afraid to throw him a few bucks his way to do a job for me. He actually helped me rebuild the carburetor, but these like I say, he's a pretty good kid, and I'm hoping to take him with us whenever we do the big trip. He's also that kid though too. It's like, man, sometimes he finds the best deals. They found a old Honda Goldwing Interstate, and it looks a little rough, and it's rough around the edges, but if you're mechanically inclined, man, the parts are still available for those things. And he brought it over, and I've not ridden a ton of bikes. Sportsters are kind of my thing. I really like Sportsters, though admittedly I wish I had just a little bit newer Sportster 1200. I would really love to have the 4-gallon fuel tank, so I don't have to fuel up because right now I get about 100 miles and I'm looking for a fuel stop. And so having that and it's one of those things. Like I also work for full disclosure, I work for a company who has Harley Davidson as a customer. I won't, for the sake of security reasons, tell you exactly what we do for them, but let's just say we're very, very entwined with Harley Davidson and the motorcycle product. But I've always loved Harley Davidson, and I had a chance, I had a chance to pay cash and buy Harley, and that's what I did. Could I possibly bought a little bit bigger bike? Yeah, I probably could have. And I probably could have paid a little less for this bike than I did. I paid about $4,000 when I bought it about five years ago. But you know, it's one of those situations like I knew it was a relative of my cousin, so it was his father-in-law, and so I trusted who was selling it. He's big in the motorcycle community. He's a member of a local bike club, motorcycle club, and so I trusted what I was getting. And for the most part, I can't complain. I mean, the bike, with the exception of some carb issues, which hopefully I think I've got sorted out now. The bikes ran pretty damn good. I really can't complain. It's never left me completely stranded anywhere. Thankfully, the few times that it's given me issues, I was literally like I fired it up, was trying to head out from home to work, and most of the time I just was like, well, screw it, park it, jump in the car and go. But it's never let me, knock on wood, it's never let me stranded out on the main road. So I'll be tinkering with it here in the spring. I'm gonna replace this windshield. You can tell is kind of cloudy and scratched up. I got it used, actually from the same place, same bike dealer or whatever, used bike dealer. It was another takeoff part, and but I'm gonna order a new Memphis shades plastic. And the ride is over. Thank you for joining us. Have a great day. Have a great week, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thank you very much.